Welcome back to the FF Forge, the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steve, and today is Rankings Day, so this should be the second video out today. Tight ends should have come out a couple of hours ago. Running back and wide receiver videos will come out later, so please check them all out, or at least the positions that you have any questions at. I will be looking at players who I have ranked a significant difference more or less than the ECR. The ECR is the expert consensus ranking. All right, things may be a little less centered over here. I don't know, is my mouse over here? Yeah, over there. I just realized that I didn't leave the differential on. So this is how different I am. Any positive number means that I am above the experts by, for instance, Jimmy Garoppolo, 4 spots. Or less by like 1 spot for Tua Tagovailoa. As far as over here, what you're seeing is the player temperature. This is a matchup rating system that has several factors included in it. And here is the floor, a ceiling. But really at the heart of everything is this projection, which this is a projected expected range. It's just like a projected number, except it's a range. Pretty tough to figure out there, huh? So this is also a projected ranking order here based on a number that I fine-tuned pretty nicely last year. It works out pretty darn well. This is the only place that you can see this, same with the tight ends video, because when I get this up on the website on Thursday, I will have it looking much more like it does over here, maybe with a couple of tweaks already. And that is another thing. This is not my final rankings. My final rankings can ultimately be seen on Sunday, 1 hour before kickoff. There is an early kickoff this weekend, 9:30, I believe, Eastern Time. I will be going ahead of the main slate of games, 1 hour, always live to answer any start-sit questions, and I have the rankings all up there. You don't even have to talk to me. You can just come up and look at the rankings. Or throughout the week, you can check out the website, www.theFFforge.com. Link is down in the description. Now, let's get to this, because I have quite a few players, and I'm not the best at being quick. My top 12 quarterbacks start off with Josh Allen at number 1. Obviously, there is an injury there, too, that we're quite concerned about. I didn't see any news come out today, but I know they were getting more further evaluations today. I don't know if that's might not be a good sign if there was no news on that today. At number 2, I have Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, Jimmy Garoppolo at number 8, Daniel Jones at number 9, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, and to wrap up my starting quarterbacks this week, I have Marcus Mariota at 12. Yeah, I failed with him last week, but we'll see again. He most weeks he's done fine. So let's just start off with Jimmy Garoppolo, who I have 4 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him was 12. I have him at number 8. This is one of those things where I just feel safe with Jimmy. It's not a great matchup. It's not a bad matchup going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. With the Chargers offense in the condition that it is in right now, the ceiling to me is... I don't care about this 20% ceiling. I disagree with that, but I do feel like that's kind of my expectation in this game. I am not expecting some 30-point game from him because I do think that they'll be able to control this game fairly well and, run the ball down the stretch type of deal, which caps off the need to get those extra yards or a throwing touchdown to really put them over the edge and have a great game. But I feel safe with Jimmy G this week. Now on to Daniel Jones, who I have 5 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him is 14. I have him at 9. Going up against Houston. This is not a great matchup. Houston is a bit of a limiting defense, so don't love that. Here you can see with this thermostat even a little bit in the cold. It's just that floor with those feet that I do definitely love with Daniel Jones. And here's the thing this week. These quarterbacks, it's craziness. So there's probably going to be some shuffling around because it's a weird week. It's a test of wits this week. There's a lot of not so great quarterbacks or middle-of-the-line quarterbacks or names who have been, whatever the case, who have really good matchups. And then there's a lot of guys that we like who are perennial starters who have really bad matchups. And combine that with just the landscape of the quarterback so far this season, it's a hodgepodge. But I am sticking with my guns and going with what we've seen so far this season, that brings us to Marcus Mariota then, who I have 7 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him is 19. I have him at 12. He's going up against Carolina this week. It's a nice matchup. Look at this expected range. It is, once again, I think I said this last week for him too. He is a riskier start. He has a nice floor, but it's not a safe floor. When he doesn't have a good game, it's not going to be good as an end result. It needs to come through for you. But he's done that more often than not this season. So that brings us to our next 12 quarterbacks. Starting off at 13, I have Justin Herbert just out of my top 12 here. We'll see if that stays, but there's some concerns with that offense. And we're going to follow that up with Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr. Some names in there, I know. Andy Dalton, Jacoby Brissett. What am I thinking? Tom Brady, how is he so low? Jared Goff, P.J. Walker, ahead of Aaron Rodgers at number 22. What's going on? Taylor Heineke and Matt Stafford at 24. Well, see, that doesn't sound so crazy anymore, does it? So let's just start off with Justin Herbert, who I have 5 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 8. I have him at 13, going up against San Francisco. If San Francisco wasn't expecting to get some of those guys back in the front 7, I would be more willing to throw him up ahead of this spot. I think I would just move him up 1 spot ahead of Marcus Mariota, and I'm not telling you to go out and take Marcus Mariota off your waiver wire, because he's almost certainly there, and play him ahead of Justin Herbert. That is not my recommendation. Just stick with Justin Herbert, because your other spot on your roster is more valuable than having a second quarterback. Keep whatever running back or something that you have as a stash over replacing Justin Herbert. He should be just fine this week, but he may not be. He might have another week like last week, so there's just some concerns there. Then Russell Wilson, I have 4 spots ahead of the ECR. I have him at 14. ECR on him is 18. Going up against Tennessee. They played really well on, I think that was Monday night. They haven't played like that all season, so I'm not necessarily expecting them to play like that again. As you can see over here, my projections absolutely love him this week. They liked him right before the bye, too, his last start. I don't know what they're absolutely loving about him, but I'm listening to that a little bit and remembering what we thought about Tennessee prior to last week. I mean, they're a really well-coached defense, but for the most part, they've been able to be had through the air. Hopefully Denver's, Russell's healed up a little bit with this week off, and they've had a moment to analyze themselves, and they'll come out looking a little better. They were starting to look just a touch better in some ways prior to the bye week, so we'll see if that continues. But here's where some guys just get knocked down because they're who they're playing against or get raised up because of their competition. Kirk Cousins, I have 5 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 10. I have him at 15 currently. Going up against Buffalo, I don't like that matchup. There is some nice upside to that, but Kirk Cousins isn't exactly a ceiling guy most weeks. So it's just a combination of that. My projections kind of show the same thing. It's like, yeah, you got a decent ceiling there, but also you're going up against a good defense, so we're not so sure about that. I feel the same way. I think you could take some risks, have some better plays than Kirk. Once again, though, still in the field of guys who I am not trying to replace. I mean, I feel comfortable throwing out at least up to the 20th quarterback here, maybe 22 even, depending on my roster of not looking to find a replacement. But still feeling comfortable here with Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr. And then we got Andy Dalton going up against Pittsburgh, who I have 4 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him is 21. I have him at 17. Once again, the projections like him a fair amount here. My big thing of why I'm not listening to my projections more for Andy Dalton is that Pittsburgh's defense has been getting healthier. They're a scary defense when they're healthy. The days of Pittsburgh's defense sucking might be over. We'll see if I don't lower Andy Dalton a little bit more. Then we come to Jacoby Brissett, who I have 4 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him is 22. I have him at 18. Going up against Miami this week, it's just such a juicy, juicy matchup. Give me all of that. Give me all of that, Jacoby. I'm all over these Cleveland players this week, apparently, and I like a good ceiling. What can I say? That's what I want, are a lot of points, and it's, there's a decent chance that he has to reach that ceiling this week, going up against an offense who scores a lot of points. Then I have Tom Brady, 8 spots behind the ECR. I have him at 19. ECR on him is 11. Last week, if you started some guys that I had ahead of him, it would have worked. If you listened to the experts, it might not have been so bad either. But I'm telling you, you got lucky, because the Los Angeles, you at least had like a 50% chance of absolutely not feeling the same way about Tom Brady after last week. Because 3rd and 5, man, Los Angeles Rams, come on, just throw it. What are you doing running and giving it to Tom Brady? You're idiots. That's how I feel about that. But this week, he's going up against Seattle. It's a really good defense. So not loving Tom Brady this week to have another week like last week. But that feels like that's close to his ceiling so far this season, which isn't a great ceiling. Then Jared Goff, I have ranked 20th. I have him 5 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 15. Going up against Chicago, do feel better about this with Chicago's offense doing better, so that always helps to get the other offense back onto the field. And also, Jared Goff's weapons are getting a little bit healthier. Chicago's defense is not as strong as it was. So a lot of factors working towards Jared Goff maybe having a better week, but I am listening a little bit to my projections here too. We'll see. I had a hard time putting them up ahead of some of these guys. Once again, there could definitely be some shuffling around here, but I don't know, man. I'm going pretty bold this week, especially right here with PJ Walker, who I have 4 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR is 25. I have him at 21. I have him ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Going up against Atlanta, okay, it's a really good matchup. I don't love PJ Walker, but if there's a week that you're going to do pretty decent, it's this week. And boy, am I scared about Aaron Rodgers going up against Dallas. We saw how he did against Detroit last week. That defense might be getting better, but it wasn't all that defense getting better either. I mean, there was some issues with this offense in Green Bay. So I have Aaron Rodgers 6 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 16. I have him at 22nd. It can get uglier. It can. I hope it doesn't. But if there's one of the few defenses that could make it look uglier than last week, it's Dallas. If there's a player you don't want to bet against, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is like one of the top 3, 4, 5 players that you don't want to bet against, but it used to be like he is the top 2. Now we're moving him down this list each and every loss. I just don't be playing my 21st or 22nd ranked quarterback. But if you're in a 2-quarterback league and you need me to make another argument for this because you're piqued and you're interested in not having to start Aaron Rodgers again, you just let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best. So those are the all of the ones that we'll talk about. Let's just finish off these quarterbacks at 25, 26, 27, 28. In that order, I have Sam Ehlinger, Davis Mills, Kenny Pickett, and Ryan Tannehill. Sam up in a great matchup there going up against Las Vegas, but less confident about that working out in his favor than PJ Walker, I guess. We'll see that stand. That's it feels so ugly. So later on today, wide receiver running backs videos in a couple of hours. One of them will come out. Check out my tight ends videos if you still want to after seeing this abomination of a rankings. We'll see. Thank you very much. Peace out.